All right, guys, I have just finished watching and reacting to the Fire Emblem Direct showcase. So if you want to take a look at my initial reactions, please take a look at my live stream. But I was so ecstatic when it ended that I just had to shut everything down and just immediately give my thoughts on my channel. So if you enjoy my content and you like my reactions and you like my takes, please like, comment, and subscribe. So let's get right back into it. So this direct was simultaneously really, really impressive and really, really boring because I think with a lot of these like general Nintendo directs, they have this tendency to just focus way too much on mechanics that anybody who's remotely familiar with the franchise will already know about. So this is a sequel to Three Houses, so of course it's going to have like the certification system, and it's going to have the multiple routes, and it's going to have all these characters. It's going to have the recruitment system. Like, it's interesting to see that all this stuff is coming back, but at the same time, like, you watch this and you get this feeling that, like, I don't know, do we really need to go into this? Like, do we really need to like know about every single little mechanic? Like, I feel like almost that they should have focused more on the story and the characters, because I feel like looking at that, that's what really got me into this direct, and that's what really fired me up about it, because this showcase was very, very impressive with how it set up the characters, how it set up the cast, how it established itself, how it demonstrated like how the stories would run in parallel. And for the first time, we have gotten the big new reveal that there is going to be another 5-year time skip. And now, my initial reaction to this was that I didn't want to see a time skip. I didn't think it was necessary. I felt like it was kind of forced in Three Houses to begin with. But with a lot, like with a lot of other things in this game, like, it feels as if it's an improvement over what Three Houses did, because Three Houses had this problem where you had to go through like the same part one to get to like a part two that was radically different depending on what route you were on. But Fortune's Weave seems to have corrected that problem with letting you play as all four like part one protagonists in tandem, parallel, with their own save files. And then with part two, you play as the real protagonist, Ishmael, the weird Sothis avatar character that's like called down like an actraiser to like just fix all the problems that the protagonist failed to stop. It's very, very interesting to kind of get the clarification on like how this game is actually going to be structured, because I think a lot of us thought it was going to be like Three Houses where you picked a protagonist and then saw it all the way through the end. But now we have clarification that that's not really the case, that you can play as all four characters in parallel. None of them are the real protagonist, and like the real protagonist doesn't come in until like the midway point, until like the time skip. Now, my thing about this is that this is a really cool reveal and it's really exciting, but at the same time, this feels like a massive spoiler. And I really have to like wonder what Nintendo is thinking, because I feel as if they marketed the game as just having four protagonists and then kept it a secret that there was a time skip and kept it secret that there was a real protagonist, like, I feel like that would have been like this huge revelatory like plot twist thing that just kind of blows people's minds. Instead, what we got instead, like, they're just telling us outright, like ruining it. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this would have been a really good twist if they had just kept it close to their chest, but instead they just gave it away. Like, with Three Houses, they kept Edelgard being the antagonist, like a pretty well guarded secret. And even if like people knew about it immediately on day one, like, at least they would have like the surprise and like the natural reaction. Like, I don't know how I feel about them coming out and like talking about like the plot in this way, because we know that like all the protagonists are going to die. We know that like you have to go back and save them, and it's just like, it just feels to me that this would be a lot more impactful if they didn't just spoil it right out of the gate like this. And I really have to wonder like if their approach to this is actually working, because I honestly feel like, I was going to buy this game anyway. I was hyped for it anyway. I was excited for it anyway. Like, I feel like I would have been better off if I had just gone dark and not watch this showcase at all. Because like if I went into it blind, I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I feel like it would have been a lot more interesting. I feel like I would have had those discoveries. I would have like discovered the similarities to Three Houses like organically. Like I just don't really feel as if like these game specific Nintendo Directs are really doing a whole lot to like really hype up the game. Because I look at this situation and I'm just like, this would have been really cool if I had gone into it blind. But now I have to deal with the fact that I've been spoiled on it, and it's just kind of frustrating. Like I'm just like, oh, how could they do this to me? Like I guess it's my fault for consuming every little bit of information about this game pre-release, but like at the same time, I'm a YouTuber. That's literally my job. Like, what do you want me to do, bro? Just ignore essential information? Like, it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just kind of frustrating, I think. Like seeing how this kind of thing like actively makes the experience of actually playing the game worse. Like I have been spoiled and now I have to deal with it. But I mean, it's true that we don't know where the story's going and what's going to happen with the characters, but like honestly, like I'm not sure like how much I care about the characters at this point, because a lot of them just seem kind of generic and basic and uninspired. Like I just don't really feel like much of connection with any of them. They all just feel like, I don't know, like side characters essentially. And I guess that makes sense considering what we know about the plot now. But, I did not have too good of an impression of like pretty much any of like the four major characters of part one. Now, obviously, everything else looks fine, and this is going to be a spectacular RPG, and it's going to, like, be way better than something like Baldur's Gate 3 or Expedition 33 or Elden Ring. That's pretty clearly obvious simply by looking at the trailers, but we do have to talk about these kinds of issues before they get worse. And I think in a similar line of discussion, the voice acting. The voice acting is as terrible as ever, and I'm convinced at this point that it is not going to get better in English. It does absolutely have to stop, okay? Like, the Western voice acting industry needs to completely collapse, and until it does, like, we really do need to start, like, really pushing back against it. But, like, these are just minor complaints that are essentially just issues I have with a game that genuinely looks really, really good and really, really exciting. There might be issues with it in the final product. I'll be sure to talk about that on this channel as we continue to develop and play through our game. But until we do, this is all we have to go on. And from what I can see, it generally looks pretty promising. Like, there are things that do need to change, and there are things that I'm very disappointed by. But hopefully this is the last time we kind of see this angle ever. Like, so as always, I'm Harman Smith, and I am very glad that you watched this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.